And remember those that could not be here, could not be home again. Home again.
So there we have Mark Douglas Berardo with his song Home Again for Christmas. Basically, at the end there, you hear him remind us about how we should take a moment to remember those who can't come home for whatever reason. And that's a great transition to New Bethany Ministries. So we have here Executive Director Marc Rittle.
Hi, that was well done. Nice transition.
And I've been working on...
You didn't have to do even the meanwhile.
Yeah. The transition class I'm taking is paying off. And then we also are joined by two board members as well. So if you don't mind, come on up and introduce yourselves.
Sure. Hi, my name is Marcy Lightwood, and I'm kind of new to the board at New Bethany, but involved in one of their projects. Want me to talk about that now?
Sure. Well, we'll also introduce ourselves first, and then we'll go through.
Hi, I'm Roland Kushner, and I'm, I guess, not a new board member. I've been at New Bethany for a while, and I'll talk about it more in a couple of seconds.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. And then basically, this is just our moment to kind of not only talk about all the services and the great, things that you provide the community, but also to kind of make people more aware of that for two reasons. One, people might need it. And I think awareness is one of those things where it's just, you may not even know that it's available to you or to a loved one who just needs it. And then secondly, if again, your cup is full and you can give, then this is a great organization to give. So it's just something that's there. And again, at the bottom there, you see the ticker going. We do have a thermometer that's associated with it. And so... you
got it all. Tickers and thermometers.
Tickers and thermometers. And then we even have this graphic. I wanted to just share one thing. So if you're thinking of what to donate, this was something that I got from you all. $25 would buy 10 meals for food insecure people. And then if you have more that you can give, this is now what supports the organization. $85 supports a client for 1 month, $510 for 6 months, and $1,020 would be for a whole year. So that was my personal goal. I was hoping to get us to around that $1,020 so that we can maybe support a client for a whole year. But let me take that off the screen and let's talk about what does that mean. So your clients, your people who you're supporting in the community, what does all that kind of entail?
Yeah, that's a great way to sort of talk about the work too. So when we say a client for a year, we can kind of make an assumption, which isn't true because every person has a different situation.
Absolutely.
But the ideal sort of client, there's no such thing as an ideal client in our
right.
work. But you start with a meal. You start with someone who is literally on the street homeless oftentimes, or you could have a place to stay, but you just need a meal, and we have that for you, and we feed. In total, probably about 150 people a day through our 2 soup kitchens. And then we have a food pantry where we serve people there as well, grocery services. And then the services go all the way through wraparound services and then to ultimately stable housing. We have a housing assistance office and we have residents who live with us.
Yeah.
We have between 50 and 60 residents. So when we add that up, we take all of our programs and do the math between dividing the number of clients that we see each year. So we can actually help a person from that meal to stable housing for that.
Yeah. And I mean, what an amazing gift that you'd be giving that person. And we have a video here to play that kind of talks about it because it touches on some of that stuff where it's like, okay, it might be a meal, it might be a shower, but that's not enough for that person. That can't put them back on their feet. So let's take a look at this and then we can talk about more of the specific initiatives that you guys wanted to kind of chat about. So here's a little bit of a dive into New Bethany Ministries.
New Bethany was the most significant social ministry program that I was ever involved with.
It's a light no matter how dark things get in our country and our society and that community. There is a light of caring, there's a light of love, there's a light of acceptance.
It really doesn't matter who or where a person is coming from in their life. When they walk through the doors of New Bethany, we definitely see the best of anyone who's coming into our doors.
It's one of the most important things I've done in my life. New Bethany Ministries is a vital community asset and partner. And the folks in Bethlehem in particular and in the Lehigh Valley in general We're very lucky to have an organization like New Bethany there.
New Bethany was formed really in response to an ongoing problem, particularly with families who were homeless. And that became the first program that got launched in the renovated New Bethany building.
Coming in and having a meal is very, very important. But if that's all we're going to give them, it's not going to give them the step up that they need. It was always important to me that the people that we serve understood how much they matter to us.
One of the most important things about the entire development and ongoing operation of New Bethany are the number of different people and organizations that come together to support it. New Bethany Ministries would not exist were it not for both the vision and the support that was given by the Episcopal Diocese of Bethlehem.
The most important thing for me there, I think, was to get more people involved. And a big part of that was the first Super Day I was there. It was an opportunity to get a lot more people aware of the work that we were doing at New Bethany.
And so that's the way that we were able to create the 14 single rooms that are in the New Bethany building, and then the drop-in center, and then moved the meal center up the street from First UCC.
I'm most proud of the new food pantry and the community center. And the idea with the new food pantry is to bring the services to the people where they are.
When I came to New Bethany 3 years ago, New Bethany was in a strong position to be able to help the community. So there was nowhere to go but to expand services to be able to meet an increased need, as we very soon discovered at the onset of the coronavirus. Our food pantry has grown by between 25 and 30% the number of people that we serve. We launched a new office, our housing assistance office. That is our biggest response to the pandemic, is to be able to help families stay in their homes during an eviction moratorium, to stay safe, and also be able to pay their rent during that period of time.
Congratulations, New Bethany, on the 30th anniversary of Super Day.
My best to the agency going forward. May you have another 30 years of helping the community.
I just want to congratulate New Bethany and everybody associated with it.
Thank you to the entire community for supporting Super Day throughout all of these decades for 30 years.
So there's a little window into what the organization does, and again, what it means to the community. Anything else you would want to add on top of that? And again, it sounds like there's some current initiatives going on.
Yeah, well, I thought that Roland would want to speak just a little bit about the beginning of the COVID pandemic, since that was mentioned, and how we addressed that right here on the south side of Bethlehem.
Sure. And obviously COVID had just a pretty cataclysmic effect on people, but also on the different human service organizations that tried to confront it. And New Bethany really had a pretty special way to help people in Bethlehem and around the Lehigh Valley. The Mollard Food Center or Meal Center, we quickly pivoted from in-person serving to to-go serving. I remember one of the things we did was we put a stand outside so that people could wash their hands. We were worried about basic sanitation issues were top of mind then. Just so many different adaptations. Same thing happened at the meal center, but really a prominent way that New Bethany helped during the pandemic was it was designated by the city as the principal agency for funneling moratorium help and rental relief. So Mark mentioned that a new housing assistance office has been set up. That understates how much good that did. And maybe, Mark, you can just give a couple of quick numbers of how many people were helped and what kind of impact it had.
Yeah, I mean, since this video is about probably a year old,
I'm sure.
I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, it's even been more since then. But yeah, we've given out $11 million just in the Bethlehem area for rental assistance to help keep either people in their homes or to move people to places or to keep people in hotels as they're moving in that transition. And that's about for 2,500 families.
Wow.
Then that office is still open. So we're actually still doing that now as we kind of talk about the economic crisis after the health crisis and the food crisis in the middle there too. Yeah. And it really is a very real thing. So
Yeah.
it's something we were concerned about.
Mhm.
And then, here we are at
Yeah.
this point.
Which is why, again, like that person at the beginning of that video says, Bethlehem should feel lucky to have it, and we really should. I mean, it's just a very special thing that's going on there. And I guess my ask, if people are listening and tuning in or whatever, is like, it's a free thing. So like maybe this one time, pick a number in your head what this show is worth to you, $10, $20, whatever, and donate that to New Bethany. Or again, if you're listening somewhere not nearby Bethlehem and you'd rather donate that to your local organization in your town, then do
Indeed.
that. Like it doesn't
Indeed.
need to be here,
Yeah.
but give to these people who need something way more than the basics and can't get it.
Yeah, the demographics of who you would think would show up at a soup kitchen has changed drastically over the last year.
Has to, yeah.
And I will say, Marcy, I don't know if you want to say like 2 sentences. So Marcy's a member of the Trinity Episcopal Church on the north side, who has also managed a soup kitchen since the 80s. And just in the last year, New Bethany has started operating that kitchen as well.
That's right. The Trinity Soup Kitchen was strongly supported by the Diocese of Bethlehem and by Trinity Episcopal Church. And as things happen these days, we ran into some difficulty financing that center. And so we made a partnership with New Bethany Ministries. They took over sending staff over there. And it's kind of a place that is pretty much like it's always been, except that through the pandemic, we're serving things through a window instead of
Sure.
come down and sit
Right.
down and dine with
Mhm.
us. So we really appreciate the support of New Bethany Ministries, and it's been a good partnership.
That's excellent. That is excellent. And it's so great to hear you guys also adapting to new needs. Like, that's huge too, because everything's changing out of our control. And again, super special. And we definitely wanted to highlight that. And we're going to continue to run the ticker at the bottom of the screen. So hopefully, again, we can raise some funds or even just awareness.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Roland, Marcy, thank you so much for all that you do. And thank you for coming on the show and sharing what's happening.